food industry staff of Reddit. What are some horrors you saw on Valentine's Day? Bartender here, not my guest but a guest in the restaurant, threw up on his steak not even a minute after it was placed in front of him. His date kept surprisingly calm for that scenario. Heck, my dad learned that his chemotherapy ruined his ability to enjoy steak in a very similar way, only luckily we were home. Chef made a special menu. No one ordered a single thing from it. This was an Irish pub mind you, and was more of a ruin-off for those not celebrating. Waste of food and labor cost. Was my first shift. Already that made me feel so bad. All their effort, while they probably had to miss the day themselves, and tried to make others feel special. Food court at the mall. Just a lot of dudes standing or sitting at a table for hours with flowers, gifts, etc. Some of their dates showed up, some left alone. Holy crap, this literally was me, hahaha, albeit a bit different. I surprised my girlfriend at work with her favorite cupcakes. She asked me to have lunch with her, but she had a lot of work to do, so I had to wait for her alone in the mall food court for over half an hour. One of our favorite regular customers brought in her boyfriend for the first time, and in her excitement she bumped into a table and knocked someone's cup off. Which isn't bad, but in her haste to pick up the cup she hit her head on the corner of the metal table and cut her forehead open. It looked like a mini crime scene. OMG, poor thing. Someone get that girl a drink. Man, this is a really great steak. Did you say this is a really great date? No. Oh god. Reminds me of the time I was having sex with some guy I'd just started dating, and he must have misheard something I mumbled as I love you because he said I love you too, and in that moment I entered an entirely new level of heck trying to decide how exactly I was supposed to respond to that. Unfortunately, that wasn't even the most awkward interaction I ever had with him. So, I had some guy who couldn't get the concept of ravioli. He kept asking if we hollowed out a spaghetti, his words, and stuffed it with lobster. I said no, but we did use pasta. He kept reiterating that he wanted a pasta. It finally dawned on me, sir, do you think that spaghetti is the Italian word for pasta? His date was clearly unimpressed, but I finally get him down for an order of lobster ravioli, even though he still seemed unaware of what he was actually ordering. After he got his food, ate one of the ravioli, he said to me, like I was the dumbest crap on the planet, bro, all you had to do was tell me that they were boyardees. I know what those are. Boyardees, for those who don't know, that's a tinned pasta brand, which includes ravioli. Work at a pizza place. Heart-shaped pizzas that took twice as long to put in a pan, and nobody was allowed to order ahead of time because corporate thought it'd be hella busy. Online orders weren't going through properly, so we had some customers waiting for their pizza for a solid 40-50 minutes. Short-staffed on delivery drivers as well. Overall pretty stressful. I work in a kitchen at a popular steakhouse. We had a wait of over 200 parties and we ran out of buzzers. Things were a mess. Anyway, we had a new guy working that night because everyone has quit. He sent out steaks all at the wrong temp. We had mediums come back well and well-dones go out rare. No specific disaster, but that was the worst and so hard to watch. A bit of context. There's a front desk girl who everyone hates because she doesn't do her job, goes on smoke breaks too much, and just generally bothers everyone while they're working. Anyway, so I'm on salad and dessert prep and I had about 8 tickets that I was struggling to make, and I hear the front desk girl ask if the tray of garlic bread that just came out of the oven was any of the waitresses. The thing about garlic bread is you have to pay for it, so there's a set number of slices. So she turns to me and asks if it's anyone's while I'm busy AF. So I just shrug and try to finish up the orders. I look up and see her just finishing shoving the entire piece in her mouth. Not 30 seconds later, one of our waitresses walks in and goes, "Where's the last piece of garlic bread?" I don't even look up and just go, "The front desk girl ate it." The waitress went off on that girl and told our manager, who also went WTF. Me and all the other cooks were laughing our heads off. Just in general, don't steal a customer's food. I worked at a fine dining restaurant years ago. A middle-aged guy comes up to me, hands me a gorgeous sapphire and diamond ring, just gorgeous, and asks me to have the pastry chef include it with his companion's dessert. The chef found beautiful blooms to decorate her dessert plate and placed the ring in the middle of one. She saw the ring, took it out of the flower, and placed it on the table. Then, she picked up a fork and started to eat her dessert without saying anything at all. The ring must have been an extravagant I screwed up apology on his part and she was having none of it. I was tempted to say if she doesn't want the ring, I do. I bartend. I'm assuming this couple was on a date. They just ordered their food. In less than 10 minutes of their date, I saw the girl take a drink, and I mean a full 20-ounce beer, and throw it on the guy. It hit the people behind him, the walls, and it soaked the floor too. She immediately walked out almost in tears. The guy's face as he just sat there soaked in beer was indescribable. It was the most movie-like breakup I've ever seen happen in real life. I made a bet with a friend one time and the stakes were, if I won she had to bake me a pie, not a euphemism. She made tasty pies, and if she won she got to throw a drink in my face, something she'd always wanted to do. Not to me specifically, just in general. She won the bet. I bartend in the lobby of a fancy hotel in Wisconsin. A woman put a cigarette in her mouth and asked what I would do if she lit it. I told her security would probably escort her out. She then proceeded to try and light it, calling me names, while her friends forced the lighter away from her. Also, a couple Japanese dudes from San Francisco were at the bar and this racist butt dude at the end of the bar kept demanding that I check them for coronavirus and he wouldn't shut up about how scared he was that they were there. I ended up cutting him off, asking him to leave. So many trash people last night kept demanding that I check them for coronavirus and he wouldn't shut up about how scared he was that they were there. Lol. I'm so scared for my health and safety, but I'm not willing to leave on my own. So the pizza place I work for cuts all the pepperoni pizzas into hearts and we had to make about 450 of those, plus 250 more pizzas, in 4 hours. Our slogan is take and bake, so obviously we make the pizzas and you take them and bake them at home. Several times, we had people get their pizzas at the end of the line and go it's not cooked. Deadpan. My co-worker looked at them and said yes to every single one of them. Also, I took a phone call and I said when will you be coming to get your pizza and she goes actually I'd like it delivered. Needless to say, we didn't deliver it and she hung up. TL. Doctor sold 700 pizzas in 4 hours and people should just read our slogan. In my area you can get almost anything delivered now, even take and bake pizza places. Postmates pretty much has taken everything over. I even suggest if we can't come to you with our delivery drivers an app will come to you. I work at pizza place where we know life's short. Eat better pizza. Last year I worked at a high-end sweets shop. Everything is top notch as advertised. It was what people were willing to do for it that scared me. Chocolate covered strawberries $50 per box of 4. We couldn't keep them in stock, and more than a few sweaty husbands begged us to make more and throw them in any container we had. One guy walking in on Valentine's morning offered to pay us double, even without the fancy romantic packaging. We didn't take it. We had also sold a big embroidered heart-shaped box for nearly $100. One guy asked us how much it cost, left, and came back later with his friend. He'd asked him for a loan to buy V-Day chocolates. Relationships are wild. A man came in and ordered 50 quarter pounders at the McDonald's I work at. I got off just before we started making them, so I lucked out. But if you know how the kitchens work at McDonald's you know the horror this entails. Yes, this will provide adequate sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon. We had a reservation for a kid's birthday party on the bus. We have a seating section on an old school bus. A preteen couple comes in and the guy gets mad because we told him we couldn't seat them on the bus due to the reso. He tried to force his way up after being told repeatedly no. Pretty sure he was trying to impress his date, who watched this all unfold. I never really understand how people would think this kind of behavior is attractive. Not an employee but a bystander. Me and my friends meet up at this big food court hangout where one of them who got there an hour early saw this one dude with a bouquet and a giant teddy bear. Almost 5 hours later we come back to the food court for lunch and the guy was still there, still with no date. He left shortly after and we watched him make call, throw the flowers at the ground, pick them back up and leave. A server said they walked by the table and heard the boyfriend say, "Well, once again I'm sorry to disappoint," in a really bad tone. Real awkward quiet for another 20 minutes, then got their check and quickly walked out. "Once again I'm sorry to disappoint" title of your adult tape. Not a staff, but a bystander. My wife and I went to Cheesecake Factory for lunch. In a bid to avoid the crowds, next to us, a dude got down on one knee and proposed. Yes, in a Cheesecake Factory. The waitress was filming it. People were watching. She saw the ring and started crying. He smiled, and all looked good. Except when my wife and I left 20 minutes later, she was still crying, covering her face, and he wasn't smiling anymore. I couldn't hear well enough to know what they were talking about, but they kept speaking in low voices. Didn't look good. Proposing to someone in a Cheesecake Factory has got to be the least romantic thing ever. Had a woman at my place get extremely pissy because she wanted her prime rib sizzling hot but also rare as possible. Like, lady, have you ever actually eaten prime rib or have any idea what the process is? Jesus Christ. Hey, I think I can translate. She wanted a ribby Pittsburgh rare and didn't know what it's called. Just a bystander here, but I walked into a grocery store yesterday evening, which was pretty packed with last-minute frantic-looking Valentine's Day shoppers. I walked in at the same time as another man with a confused look on his face, and I hear him say out loud to himself, "Man, the store is pretty packed for a Friday evening." Then, we both turned the corner and I met with all of the last-minute flower arrangements and Valentine's cards layout, and I see the man completely freeze and again out loud. He says, "Oh, number, no. Today is Valentine's Day, crap, I'm so fricked," as he quickly runs to the chocolate section, joining the rest of the panic-stricken dudes with the same looks on their faces. Hope those dudes are all still alive this morning. Lol. I stopped by the grocery last night after work. I couldn't believe all the people buying the stuff. It was 9 at night. Happened to my friend who works in the food industry. She worked a 14-hour shift, then wanted to meet up with her boyfriend afterwards to give him his day gift. He gave her an address, and when she shows up, she realizes it's a strip club. He did not tell her he was at a strip club, only gave her an address she used to call an Uber, so she goes inside, day balloons and gift in hand, finds him, drops off his gift and Ubered back home alone. Poor LAS. 5 hours of Full House. Very angry chef. Plates stacking up in the window. Hour-long wait times for food. Beautiful scallops, yo. I had a man verbally abusing his wife at my table. And I don't mean talking over her and being rude, I mean saying things like, "What the frick do you think you're doing, you fricking B, and I'll give you $36.00 to get the frick out of here right now, you piece of crap." Had 4 different tables complain about them and we eventually asked them to leave. I've never seen anything like it before. At one point the guy went to the restroom and I went up to the wife and asked if I could help in any way and if she was alright. I've never wanted to assault someone in my life more than that piece of crap. I wasn't working there, but a table next to mine had an absolute meltdown because their food took long to arrive. Most of them just left and the last few asked if they could just box it up and leave when the food arrived. They got it all on the house. Some dank horrors here, but how about a moment of silence for our hotel motel workers the day after Valentine's Day? When I was a server bartender, we had a frequent escort come to our restaurant. It was pretty obvious she was an escort as this restaurant was in a wealthy neighborhood and she would be with a different man every time. Once when I served her, she said to me I'd make good $sign if I joined her company. So on Valentine's Day, she came in, big, gold hoop earrings, tea hanging out of a floral dress and fake designer bag. She sat down with an elderly man who I figured was married, BC he was wearing a wedding band. Anyway, long story short, she jerked this guy off under the table. Manager kicked her out and she never came back. This is the best thing I read all day. This is something that happened to me directly. I thought my boyfriend and I had decided to get each other small gifts, like chocolate and flowers, ya know. I come home from work to red ribbon covered boxes with over $700 worth of gorgeous jewelry. You know what I got him? A $25 gift card to Applebee's. He loves to drink there with his friends because it's cheap. I really thought I was being clever funny. I was in McDonald's and I see 2 people at a table having a Valentine date with a red tablecloth and candles with fancy napkins and their order number card on the table. That's kind of cute, honestly. 1 man, 1 very angry woman, 1 very full glass of red wine and 1 impeccably white button-up shirt. Love the imagery. Had a woman come into a fine dining restaurant and tell me she was allergic to allium, garlic, shallot, etc. Processed sugar, gluten and salt. It was borderline torture to empathize. It's a 4-course prix menu for $150 person. Her partner had a bomb butt meal and such a wonderful experience. She essentially had crispy rice, steamed broccoli and cauliflower, pepper rubbed Arctic char, and skipped dessert. She did not have a wonderful experience. I would have felt bad for her, but we go out of our way to give them the menu ahead of time. Call to confirm that you're okay with the reservation and menu, and approve that the $150 price was legit. But she just kept throwing a stink because she must have expected us to create an entirely new menu just for her, and it should have been just as amazing as the other food our 250 guests were eating. In the end, I charged her full price and got that 20% tip. A note for those who don't restaurant often: don't assume you're special on a holiday where everyone thinks they're special. You're not that special. You could always recommend the water soup as a substitute since she can't have anything. Make her feel special. I was at a fast food place yesterday because I'm a lonely frick, and the dude in front of me straight up told the cashier if the cooks can make the best looking burger possible because he forgot he was cooking for his wife and wanted to pass it off at home like he made it. It was some steamed ham scrap. Superintendent wife, welcome. I hope you're prepared for an unforgettable dinner. Drink got spiked in a restaurant while working. Worst V-day ever. That's horrible. I hope you're okay. We're in the last hour of service, but we've about emptied out. A couple sat at the bar for about 30 minutes before ordering potato skins 2 minutes before close, and asked me to remake them twice. They gave me some dirty looks when I put all my go home stuff near them, so I said, I'm not sure if anyone told you, but it's my Valentine's Day too. Good for you. Fight the madness. Guy and girl come in. They order food. Seems all good. Then the girl leaves her phone and goes to the bathroom. The guy picks up her phone and starts snooping, and the girl comes back and catches him and is understandably pissed. Asks for their food to go, and when she gets it she socks him in the chest and leaves. He paid for everything and quietly left immediately after. My wife was asleep when I got off my 14-hour shift and I could tell she had been crying. Holidays suck when you're in the industry. I'm married to an industry dude and we learned it is best to celebrate the day before or at breakfast before he leaves. A little planning is all it takes. My father manages a restaurant and he had a little argument with an IT guy a few weeks prior. The dude made a fake website for the restaurant and accepted over 200 reservations, which led to the restaurant being very packed. Lots of angry people and a few shattered glasses, lol. Whoa. My own personal horror story. GM at my restaurant told me I had quickly become his best server, been here since December. Been raking it in, for this restaurant at least, and have regulars ask for me close to every shift. I was pumped for Valentines. But no, I fainted in the middle of dinner service and got sent home. So here I am today, feeling like crap, and with a fraction of what I planned to make, and ruined 4 tables Valentine's dinners. Work on a cruise, so I had a dinner last night and a lunch and dinner today. Last night, there was this one lady who was obviously upset with her, so I'm a photographer, so they stepped to take a photo and he didn't want to, but she had already paid for it so they had to. She was annoyed with him but she put on a smile. Then when I went to show her the photo, she was so done with everything. She never got up to dance or anything. I wonder if he did something wrong or if she was sick, but she didn't look like she was having fun. Not staff but a patron. Went to a super small restaurant with 4 to 5 employees. Normally, 2 of them called out at the last minute. Then the Coke machine sprang a leak or something and would not stop pouring water from the nozzle. It filled 2 5-gallon buckets plus numerous pitchers. All while the phone is ringing off the hook for takeout orders and people were streaming in to order takeout or eat in the restaurant. It was chaos. We should have known better when we walked in just as another couple decided to eat elsewhere. And this was before the Coke incident. As someone who's been in the industry his whole life, people think Thanksgiving or Christmas or 4th of July are the worst days, but the trifecta of horribleness and the Holy Trinity of Sh heck is New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day. Those are the days where it's amateur hour and terrible banquet food and price fikes menus that are just garbage and you're better off staying home. not a staff, but I went into the bathroom and witnessed a man propose to a woman in the stall and she said no. Bystander at a Charlie's. I witnessed the table behind us get bussed while they were in the bathroom. Mother and child. Gone for a bit I guess. Food gets brought out to a clean table. Staff is confused but sets it down. Guests come back. Waiter comes back, tells them he will get them some silverware and napkins and their drinks and apologizes. He was not gone 5 minutes. She gets up to complain to not one, but 2 different waiters. She was visibly complaining to the second one when her waiter comes back with everything but her drink. She snaps some comment about it being 30 minutes. Waiter does not end up going back. Manager checks on them and he doesn't even want to deal with them, so sends someone else back with her drink and to-go boxes as a sign to GTFO. Side note, I heard her young child say he didn't like a song playing and she said he should complain and they will change it. Awesome. Teaching great values to the next general. I actually had a really smooth day yesterday. Weirdest thing I remember was someone ordering a steak with a slice of American cheese on top. I was just getting off of work around 3 PM, so I headed to do some grocery hopping and I saw the guy looking frantically through his shopping bags, so I asked if he needed help with something. He confessed that he had bought a Walmart necklace for his girlfriend because she told him if she didn't get something expensive she would leave him. Apparently he had purchased it and when he was turned around thought he heard his bags rustle and the chain was gone. He told me he had just been laid off and didn't have the heart to tell her no. I felt about an inch tall, helping him try to find a cheap necklace, knowing that no matter how good a guy or how bad a circumstance, some people are so materialistic that someone giving their all is still not enough. I hate Valentine's Day. I wasn't single last night, but boy I feel heartbroken for that guy. Bless his heart. He would be so better off without her, if that's the best she can do. And though I was crazy for paying about $90 for 24 chocolate velvet covered strawberries, and today I feel like I made a good purchase. You have been visited by the romantic doggo. Comment love is magic so you never fall in the friend zone. Like and subscribe you magnificent person.